Hi, I'm Luann with Rockin Book Reviews, and I am so excited to have McKenna Gray on with me today. Um, a while ago, I interviewed with her as M.K. McClintock, which I have read many of her series, and I love them, and she is a fantastic writer. Her pen name is McKenna Gray.
McKenna Gray.
So, McKenna Gray, I'm going to let you explain the difference and why you chose that pen name and what type of books you write under McKenna Gray.
Well, thank you, Luann, for having me back again as my alter ego. McKenna Gray she came along a few years after I started writing under M.K. McClintock, and I knew that I wanted to write contemporary. And I knew that whatever I wrote as contemporary would be quite a bit different from what I wrote in historical. So I made the choice, even though it's not necessary as much these days, but I did make the choice to have it under a separate name, separate brand, everything, because I wanted readers. Not everybody likes to overlap. I know a lot of readers who there's some crossover, but a lot of them, they like historical or they like contemporary, and you have some that don't necessarily like to overlap. And I wanted people to know exactly what they were getting when they picked up one or the other of the books. And so people who pick up an MK book, they know what they're getting. They know they're getting historical. They know they're going to get either a Western or some kind of romantic mystery that's still historical.
Or your British series.
Yeah. And then when they pick up a McKenna Gray book, they're going to get, well, contemporary. They're all contemporary, but it's going to be romantic suspense, thrillers, mysteries, and even some small town sweet romance. But it's all contemporary. So it was just a choice that I made, and it was more, I think, in part also so that I can in my head keep them very separate. So it makes it a little easier on me as well.
Writer's mentality always blows my mind. From what I understand, those characters, those individuals actually live inside of you, as you know, where you feel them speak to you.
They really do. They really do. They become real. I mean, and I think it's a little different for all authors, and it just depends on what they write, especially. But I think on some level, most writers will tell you that their characters, they are real for us. At the time we're writing them, they're very real. And the more we can connect with them and make them real, the more we can understand and write their story. And for me, it's always been that way. I have to really connect with the characters. I remember for one of the books I was writing, I had started out and I wasn't connecting with the main female lead at all. And I was just having the hardest time. So I chucked her. I got rid of her. I mean, she was a nice enough person, but she just, I didn't get her. And the guy just deserved someone who I could relate to as well. And so
did you get rid of her in the book or just in your before you wrote?
No, she ended up in the trash. No, I'm sure I might, resurrect her for something, for another story, but I have done that. And if it's not a character that I can either relate to or especially one of the leads, if it's a good person and I need to be able to say, okay, I would be friends with that person. And if I can't say that, then they either get tossed out or they become a bad guy. So, but yes, they're very real.
It probably depends on how you are in your lifetime. I mean, are you going through a trying time or a positive time, correct?
Not as much for me. Oddly enough, my moods, and probably to the dismay of many people around me, my moods often fit with whatever I'm writing. If the story's going really well, then I'm in a great mood all the time. If I'm frustrated with a character, then I'm annoyed with a lot of things. So I can walk away from it, but it's more that how the story's going and how the characters are is how it'll affect me a little bit more in real life, until my brain, comes out of the fog and gets back into reality. And then I'm okay.
Okay. It's just some writers, I don't want to be mean. I'm trying to figure out how to say this best. But
you know what? We're an odd lot. We understand that we're very odd, and people can say stuff about us. We're thick-skinned too.
I was just going to say some writers have a wonderful story, but you just don't feel it. They don't connect with the reader. But all of your stories I've read, I can feel the character. I can feel the background scenes and all the adventure and everything. And that is a talent.
Well, thank you very much. That's the point. But yeah, I mean, and I think when that happens and when readers do feel what we feel, then we obviously feel like we've done our job and we've done it properly. But yeah, for me, I become a part of the story. That's the only way I know how to write. And it can get very intense and draining, both mentally and emotionally. But I like the stories. I like my writing better when that happens. If I can't find myself in the story, then I get the sense that, the readers aren't going to feel it either. So
we talked earlier in our interview as MK McClintock about a little bit more of your mysterious avoidance of the internet.
Oh. I am on social media, not very well, but I am there.
But you did mention you really like to talk about your pets. So tell us a little bit about your pets.
I do. I'm a pet person. I like animals and nature, and I can go on and on about them for a long time. Well, I had a Saint Bernard, and I do show I don't put personal pictures up on my websites, but on my MK website, on my About page, I do have pictures of all my furry friends. But I've always been a dog person. I like dogs and horses the best. And I had a Saint Bernard for 7.5 years, and she passed away last year. And now I have an English Cocker Spaniel who was adopted. Actually, it's more my mom's dog, but I get to babysit a lot, so I kind of think of her as mine. But yeah, I've always been an animal person, and I don't include them often enough in my stories. Horses, obviously, in my historical books, and in my contemporary books, I have a series that I will be starting where a dog plays a very large part. So yes, I do like the four-legged creatures.
A lot of times they're more loyal than the two-legged.
Yeah. They'll curl up in a bed in my office and just leave me alone while I write.
Okay. Okay. Tell me what next big project McKenna has coming up.
Well, right now I am working on the third book in my Kindle Family Thriller series. The first 2 books I had the pleasure of writing with Everly Archard, who is AKA Dee Dee Myers, and she has a lot of great projects going on. So I'm finishing up the series, but I'm working on that third book right now. It is going very well. I'm spending a lot of time my imagination is spending a lot of time in Alaska right now with them, and it is romantic suspense / thriller. And I say that because depending upon who's reading it, it's romantic suspense, and some readers who are used to more steamier romance, which I don't write, they consider it more thriller suspense as opposed to romance. So, you know. And then I have, as I said, I have another series that I will be starting next year. But right now I'm finishing up, I've got the Kindle family thrillers that I'm finishing up. The family, the Kindle characters, they
For
are
the readers who haven't read your books, explain what the Kindle family, where they're setting and
the
so forth.
Kindles are a family of 4. There are 3 brothers and 1 sister. They are so much fun to write. And they can find a lot. I've actually got tidbits on my website, McKennaGray.com, where they can learn a little bit about each of the characters. But it started, and the books are all standalone, but it started with, there's a prequel where all of the siblings are in the first story, and murder and mayhem up in Alaska. And then, but the fun thing about this series is that I kind of we take them to different places. So book 1 was set primarily in North Carolina, where I've spent some time, and so that was fun. And then book 2 was set in part in Maine, in the Highlands, where I've also spent some time. It goes back to what I had said in my MK interview about writing places that I know. And then, but it's just a family of 4 who are parentless, and I can't go into details on that without giving too much away.
Okay.
But they're such a fun family to write, these characters. They've got the seriousness, they've got the chivalry, they've got the humor. Their dynamic is just, it's, if I were to form my ideal perfect family, other than my own, but if I were to form my ideal perfect family, that would be it. I always thought it would be so much fun to be the only sister with a bunch of brothers. And so
now the setting is in Alaska?
Some of them, they're all from Alaska.
Okay.
But the books are set in different places. The book that I'm writing, the 3rd book, is set in Alaska entirely. But the readers are taken to different places, and there's reasons for that. It's a lot of fun. So they're such a fun group of characters. So
can you give us any kind of a hint what your new series will be about?
The new series that I will be working on after the Kindles are done, there's one more Kindle book after this one that'll be coming out. Can I give you anything? I can tell you that it is also set in Alaska, and the series revolves, it's a series, the main character through the entire series is the same. And then there's a secondary character who is the same throughout the whole series. But no, I can't tell you. I'm so bad about giving away stuff, because I know that it's like authors who will share lines from their stories as they go along for a work in progress. I can't do that because I change my mind.
That's why you're such a good mystery.
But I change my mind, and so I worry that if I tell someone it's going to be about this, the main character in the new series, I've already changed her profession twice, and I finally settled on what it's going to be. But that's just, before I start writing a new book, I do that sometimes. So
is it going to be romance or mystery or?
There are going to be romantic thrillers, not heavy on the romance, but the romance, they're more thriller with romantic elements. So,
well, that we'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. It's going to be, I've been thinking about that particular series for a while now, and it'll likely last many years. And I've got some other books planned in there too. So under McKenna Gray, I'll be pretty busy, but.
So yeah. I understand you have a couple of Christmas short stories to help us celebrate our Christmas in July.
I do. I also with Everly Archard, we wrote, she wrote 2 and I wrote 2, and we included them in an anthology. And they're sweet, small town Christmas romance stories. And they're so heartwarming and fun and light and wonderful. And mine are one is set in Montana and the other is set in Wyoming. And they are contemporary, of course. And yes, and they're both going to be part of the giveaway for your Christmas in July.
Oh, exciting.
And so the winner will get that plus a extra surprise prize.
More mystery.
Yes, more mystery. I love mystery.
I can tell.
I just love it. So, but yes, so the reader will get that, and so I love celebrating Christmas all year round.
Oh, that's the way I am. My husband,
July is a great time to celebrate Christmas.
he gets annoyed at me because I watch Christmas movies all year and I listen to Christmas music.
I don't watch them all year. I sometimes do, but I start watching the Christmas movies like really big time starting midsummer, and then I don't stop until after Christmas. So it's great. I love it.
I know. I know my family used to get appalled because they'd have Christmas decorations in October with Halloween and
oh wow, no, you start much earlier. I like Halloween a lot, and so Halloween gets its own whole thing. So Christmas doesn't start until the day after Thanksgiving.
And with me it starts the day after Halloween.
Well, then you would probably enjoy reading Christmas books in July.
That sounds wonderful.
All right.
Okay. So is there any final comment you'd like to make before we close?
Well, sentiments are pretty much the same as what I had said with MK, but I really just want to thank the reading community in general. There are so many authors and so many books and so many readers, thank goodness, for us to all satisfy. But it's really wonderful to be able to share our work and our words and our stories and our imaginations with such a wonderful community. And even though there's a lot of us, like myself, we write for ourselves. We do it because we love it. But without everyone else out there reading the books, there wouldn't be a whole lot, they just sit languishing on a shelf or on computers or typewriters or something. So it's just, I don't know that the reading community is thanked often enough. And I'm just really grateful for all of you out there watching this too.
Well, personally, I'm grateful for writers like you. And
Well,
since you brought that up, I like to frequently remind the readers that, and I didn't realize this when I was a young reader, that our wonderful authors depend on our reviews to sell books.
Well, except the mean reviews.
well, but
they come with the territory.
But
yes,
anyhow,
reviews.
It's important, and I encourage the audience to be sure to post reviews for these books that you've enjoyed with these wonderful authors, because it is important to them. And I thank you and all the authors out there for filling my day with joy and emotion and all the wonderful different aspects of reading.
Well, you keep reading and we'll keep writing.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Okay, we'll close off now, and we encourage all of you to explore the universe through books. And bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.